What if I told you the best sports films aren't really about sports? Yeah, we all love a good underdog story, the team with no chance, the player who's past their prime, the long shot who shocks the world. But the great ones, they go deeper. They're about identity, resilience, pride, and sometimes just straight up chaos. In a very human way. In today's video, we're recommending 5 sports movies you absolutely need to watch. In no particular order, I might add. Yeah, they all feature that classic against all odds vibe, but each one brings something totally unique to the table. One is brilliantly funny, another is heartbreakingly real. And a couple might just surprise you. So whether you're a massive fan or just don't know the rules, these films will hit you where it counts. So let's jump in. Our first pick is a rough and ready comedy that will no doubt make you laugh, but does have plenty of heart. And that is Goon. Directed by Michael Dowse and written by Jay Baruchel and Evan Goldberg. This is a hockey comedy that punches far above its weight, both literally and figuratively. It follows Doug Glatt, played by Sean William Scott, who is a kind-hearted bouncer with more fist than finesse, who stumbles into minor league hockey as an enforcer, a player whose job it is just to fight. The film's humour is unapologetically crude, often profane, but oddly charming. It thrives on absurdity and violent slapstick, but there's a surprising amount of heart beneath the blood and bruises. Think Slapshot meets Superbad with a bit more sincerity. Sean William Scott gives, I think, a career-best performance, playing Doug with a sweetness and innocence that makes him immensely likeable, even as he's knocking out teeth on the ice. As an underdog story, Goon flips the usual sports trope on its head. Doug isn't striving to be the best player, he's trying to belong, to find a team and purpose, and some self-respect. That angle gives the film a refreshing emotional depth that elevates it beyond typical sports comedies. Supporting roles from Liev Schreiber as the aging enforcer Ross Ray and Jay Baruchel as Doug's vulgar best friend add both gravitas and comedy relief. Compared to other sports films like The Mighty Ducks or Happy Gilmore, Goon stands out for its raw, realistic portrayal of hockey culture. At least that's how I see it. Especially the role of violence within the sport. It's rougher around the edges, but more honest and grounded than many of its genre counterparts. In short, Goon is a funny, foul-mouthed and surprisingly heartfelt hockey film that celebrates the misfits who find family on the ice. It's a cult classic in the making and a sports movie that you simply have to watch. Our number 4 pick is a raw, unflinching character study that strips away the glitz of professional wrestling to reveal the painful, often tragic world that exists behind the curtain. And that film is, of course, Darren Aronofsky's The Wrestler. Far from the spectacle of bright lights and roaring crowds, The Wrestler offers a deeply realistic portrayal of aging grappler Randy the Ram Robinson, played with devastating vulnerability by Mickey Rourke. The film doesn't glamorize the profession, it exposes it. Yeah, that might seem a little old hat today, as there are countless documentaries that do just that, such as the Unreal series that has just released on Netflix that lifts up the curtain to expose the inner workings of the WWE. But The Wrestler did this at a time when such things weren't really accepted, centering around one individual working on the independent circuit, albeit a fictional individual, but the realism is all there. Drawing inspiration from real-life wrestling figures like Jake the Snake Roberts and Scott Hall, The Wrestler captures the physical and emotional toll that this world takes. It mirrors Roberts' descent into addiction and isolation, showing how wrestlers, whilst icons in the ring, are often discarded by the very industry that they helped build. Randy's reliance on steroids, painkillers, and small-time gigs on the independent circuit, performing in front of small crowds, reflects a sad truth. Many wrestlers destroy their bodies and sacrifice personal relationships for a momentary spotlight in a world built on predetermined outcomes and scripted drama. What sets The Wrestler apart is its brutal honesty. Unlike Rocky, which celebrates the underdog's climb, this is a story of decline. A man clinging onto a past that he can't relive, hoping to reclaim lost glory whilst battling inner demons. Randy isn't chasing a dream, he's outrunning the consequences of his choices. In the end, The Wrestler is less a sports movie and more a quiet tragedy. It's a powerful, humane exploration of broken lives that can exist beneath the pageantry of pro wrestling, a testament to the pain behind the performance. I myself and Sean are fans of wrestling, albeit I was a fan of the Attitude Era from the late 90s into the early 2000s. Yet I am very intrigued to learn more about the ins and outs of the world of professional wrestling. The Wrestler provides a small glimpse into that world on a more extreme level. In this instance, the art comes at a heavy price. Randy can only be what he's always aspired to be, a top-draw wrestling superstar, but he is forced to take on more menial jobs in order to make ends meet. Mickey Rourke is absolutely outstanding in this film, delivering a real standout performance at a time when not many filmmakers or studios would hire him. My understanding is that there isn't really much between the character and the real-life actor to an extent, and you can certainly see that in Rourke's performance. I'd describe it as a powerhouse performance. That is a term I probably am going to use again in this list. With all of the glitz and glamour of WWE and AEW, this film offers up a more human side to a larger-than-life industry that has entertained for generations. The Wrestler does offer a more grounded look into a world filled with large egos where the lines between fact and fiction are blurred with high personal stakes. It's a window into the life of someone that was once on top of the world but is now coping with a dramatic fall. A story all too familiar with many real-life wrestling superstars. And The Wrestler is a sports film that you really must watch, whether you're a fan of wrestling or not. In at number 3 is a film that is a sharp, satirical and surprisingly heartfelt mockumentary that takes aim at the chaotic world of English football management. And that film is Mike Bassett, England Manager. Told in the style of a fly-on-the-wall documentary, much like This Is Spinal Tap or The Office, the film peels back the curtain on the inner workings of the Football Association, the FA, and the England national team, with both biting humour and a fair dose of truth, I dare say. But at its core is Ricky Tomlinson's brilliantly blundering performance as Mike Bassett, a lower league manager accidentally thrust into a spotlight after the FA fails to secure a high-profile replacement. The decision, made in desperation, highlights a recurring theme in English football. The national team manager's job is a poison chalice, passed from one doomed soul to the next under immense media pressure and public expectation.
Each other up front, you've got an effective partnership of strength and skill.
Fuck off!
Tomlinson plays Bassett with a mix of bravado, vulnerability and working-class charm, grounding the character in a sort of tragic reality that makes him enduring even when he's failing spectacularly.
Let's go! Well done, Poland!
The film's humour often draws from real-life footballers and scenarios, particularly those from the 1990s. Characters like the volatile and emotional Kevin Tonka Tonkinson clearly channel players like Paul Gascoigne, brilliant on the pitch but plagued by off-field antics. It's a clever nod to the generation of English talent known more for the tabloid headlines than tournament victories. Bradley Walsh, as the hilariously straight-faced assistant manager Dave Dodds, adds another layer of comic relief, endlessly delivering some of the film's funniest lines with deadpan timing. He's very much a yes man. What gives Mike Bassett, England Manager, its edge is how it reflects the absurd pressure that accompanies England's perpetual dream of winning the World Cup.
Let's fucking kill him!
It lampoons the FA's bureaucracy, the tabloid hysteria, and the fickle nature of fans.
Gonna walk it!
Whilst also capturing the optimism and heartbreak that define the nation's relationship with its team. Yet for all the laughs, there is an undeniable sincerity here. Beneath the chaos and cliches is a story about a man who genuinely loves the game, trying to do right by his country. 2 decades later, the film's relevance hasn't really faded, but the national obsession, the hype, and the manager's impossible job still ring true. Mike Bassett, England Manager, is not just a parody of a sport. It's a loving, ridiculous, and oddly poignant celebration of it.
That ruthless Small's coming in the side of a Renault Espace.
Hard luck, Smalls, you're getting closer.
Funny, chaotic, and full of heart, it remains a cult classic for football fans and comedy lovers alike. I would say that it's a beautiful take on the beautiful game and a sports film well worth your time.
England will be playing 4-4-2.
For our number 2 pick, we've gone with a boxing film, and there are plenty of those to choose from. We could have gone with the obvious choice of Rocky, but I don't really need to recommend that now, do I? We could have chosen Raging Bull, but that's going to come up on a future list. So for our number 2 pick, we've gone for a boxing film based on a true story and set during the darkest days of the Great Depression. And that film is Ron Howard's Cinderella Man. Cinderella Man tells the true story of James J. Braddock, a washed-up boxer turned dock worker who was given one last shot to do the impossible, step back into the ring and fight his way from poverty to legend. It's a story of grit, grace, and one of the greatest comebacks in sporting history. What makes this film so compelling isn't just the underdog story. We've seen that before. It's the heart behind it. This isn't just about a boxer chasing a title. It's about a father fighting for his family, a man trying to hold on to his dignity when everything around him is falling apart. Russell Crowe absolutely nails it as Braddock. His performance is raw, grounded, and deeply human. You believe every struggle, every moment of humility, and every quiet victory. He plays Braddock not as a hero, but as a man forced into heroism by circumstance. And Renee Zellweger as May Braddock, well, she's the emotional anchor of the film. She brings such a warm strength and vulnerability to the role, reminding us that the real battle wasn't just in the ring. It was at home, with the mouths to feed and hope running dry. Paul Giamatti also deserves praise as Braddock's fiery manager, Joe Gold. He brings the right balance of street-smart hustle and unwavering loyalty, earning him an Oscar nomination. Director Ron Howard does what he does best here. He strips away flash and delivers an honest, emotionally charged story. The boxing scenes are brutal and real, or at least that's how they seem to me. They're not overly stylized or glorified, but more importantly, Howard makes sure that you care deeply about the man, not just the match. And the production design deserves a shout out too. The 1930s setting feels lived in and authentic. You can almost feel the cold, the hunger, and the desperation. The atmosphere adds weight to every decision Braddock makes. It's not just fighting for fame, he's literally fighting to keep the lights on. What makes Braddock's story so powerful isn't just that he won fights. It's who he was fighting for. After breaking his hand in the ring, he was forced to abandon boxing and take grueling day labour jobs just to put food on the table for his wife and kids. His licence was revoked, he was counted out, and still, he didn't quit. Braddock's journey from broken down to back in the ring is almost mythical, except it's real. He went from collecting welfare to taking on heavyweight contenders, eventually earning a title shot against undefeated Max Baer, a man known for literally killing 2 opponents in the ring. But Braddock wasn't just fighting Baer, he was fighting for every working class family struggling to stay afloat. That's why the crowds adored him. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't fast, he was them, and every punch he threw felt like a stand against poverty, despair, and defeat. At its core, Cinderella Man is a film about resilience. It reminds us that sometimes the most heroic thing a person can do is show up again and again, when they've got every reason not to. If you like underdog stories with a real emotional punch, this one's a must-watch. And it's not just one of the best boxing movies ever made, it's probably one of the most inspiring biopics of the 2000s. And it's a sports movie very much worth your time. Our number 1 pick isn't just a movie about fast cars and corporate rivalry. It's a high-octane, character-driven drama that combines the grit of motorsport with the soul of human ambition. Based on the true story of Ford's battle to beat Ferrari at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1966, the film fires on all cylinders and it never lets up. This is Ford versus Ferrari, or Le Mans 66, depending on where you're watching it. And it is one hell of a ride. From the opening sequence, director James Mangold makes one thing clear. This isn't just about racing, it's about obsession, integrity, and the price of passion. The story centers on 2 real-life legends, automotive designer Carroll Shelby, played by Matt Damon, and the rebellious English driver, Ken Miles, brought to life by Christian Bale in one of his most electric performances in years. What makes the film soar isn't just the racing, though trust me, those scenes are absolutely thrilling, it's the way it captures the humanity behind the wheel. Christian Bale's Ken Miles, a scrappy, hot-headed and relentlessly principled brummie. For those across the pond, a brummie is someone from Birmingham. Well, Sutton Coldfield, but close enough. Miles was a man who'd rather lose a race than compromise who he is. Bale is kinetic here, sharp, sarcastic, but also deeply emotional. You can certainly feel the love that he has for the machine and for his family, especially in his scenes with young Peter Miles. Matt Damon's Carroll Shelby is the perfect counterweight. calm, charming, and constantly navigating the tug of war between art and corporate politics. His chemistry with Bale is the emotional engine of the film. Two men bound by mutual respect and a shared refusal to sell out. And when it comes to realism, this film, I think, absolutely nails it. The sound design is brutal and beautiful. Every gear shift, engine roar, and tyre squeal is felt in your chest. The race scenes are masterfully directed. You're not just watching the action, you feel like you're in it. The camera doesn't just show speed, it shows stakes. Every lap at Le Mans feels like life or death. And James Mangold deserves huge credit. He doesn't let the story fall into cliche, even though it easily could have. He keeps the pacing tight, the emotion real, and the stakes deeply personal. This isn't just about building a fast car. It's about challenging the status quo, pushing the limits, and fighting for the soul of what you believe in. Ford versus Ferrari is as much a character study as it is a sports drama. It's about men who risked everything to chase something bigger than themselves, even when the system tried to hold them back. The final race scene certainly keeps you on the edge of your seat, and to be a bit more cliched in my description, it really is a white-knuckled ride, not only for the fast-paced racing, but the fight between the corporate bigwigs wanting to show off their company's dominance within the sport, and the men wanting to give it their all to win the race. It's man against machine, but the machine here is the corporation. If you love movies that blend adrenaline with heart, spectacle with soul, Ford versus Ferrari is absolutely worth the ride, and is a sports film well worth your time. So those are our picks. What sports films would you recommend? Please feel free to let us know in the comments, and maybe we'll revisit sports films in the future. But please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Anyway, I've been Colin from the Critical Cinema Club, and until next time, take care.